Welcome to Encounter, where we celebrate putting faith into action and community leaders who live out compassion, grace, and love. We're a program of the Broome County Council of Churches that addresses food insecurity through CHOW and the Greater Good Grocery, provides hospital and jail ministry, builds wheelchair ramps, and assists neighbors with transportation and shopping services through Faith in Action volunteers. We invite you to the conversation. Encounter your neighbors as we learn to walk together in love and kindness.
Good morning and welcome to Encounter. I'm your host today, Joe Sellepack. I really love Binghamton. There's a lot of good things that happen inside of our city that, or in our area, all of Broome County, that are just so endemic to the soil. It kind of comes out of the passion and the efforts of local people in our area. And one of those groups that I've really grown to love what they do is the Police Athletic League, the PAL Camp that goes on over the summer. They bring in kids from the area. They get them engaged inside of a camp situation, a day camp situation, and they give them purpose, and they also give them stuff to do through the summer that is constructive and things that kind of lead toward greater health and vitality. To help us talk a little bit about the PAL Camp, ways that we can connect with it, and the work that is currently being done by the PAL Camp is their executive director, Matt Lewis. Matt, it's great to have you on Encounter today. I'm so grateful that you took time out of your busy schedule. I know you're a volunteer for PAL Camp, that your major work is as a detective with the Binghamton Police Department. But thank you for being here and being on Encounter to talk about this important thing.
Thank you for having me.
So Matt, how does I've always wanted to talk to a police officer about this question, but and I've really I've run into a lot of police officers in various places. Like I've been on the Family Violence Prevention Council and a number of other places. I know some of the folks that are in higher up, folks who are the superintendents and the chief of polices and all that kind of stuff, but. Never asked them this question, and I'm glad I get a chance to ask you this. But how do you why did you become a police officer, and maybe tell me a little bit about growing up in Binghamton and how and why you chose to become a police officer in Binghamton.
Well, I'm glad to answer this for you. In any profession, it seems to follow a family type of role, and as painters have sons and their sons become painters, or plumbers' sons become plumbers. It is true for my family. My father was a police officer for Binghamton, and my grandfather was also.
Wow, so you're a third generation police officer?
I'm third generation, yeah.
And so is it big, is that kind of ingrained inside of your family life then? My wife and I love that TV show Blue Bloods.
Yes.
And it kind of, you kind of see that kind of, how that kind of plays itself out in various ways through the family life. Is that kind of been your experience too?
Yes, I one of my memories with my father being on the police force was the sound of his leather jacket in the cold weather. Would make the crinkly sound every time he moved it, and him putting on his uniform and belt and shining his shoes. Those are memories that I will always remember. My grandfather's picture with a light blue uniform up on our wall.
Now did you grow up in Binghamton then?
Yes, born and raised.
Born and raised.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
On the east side of
East
Binghamton,
side?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you went to Binghamton schools?
I did. I graduated Binghamton High School in 1996.
All right.
Yeah.
I know that Mary Surdy, one of the members of my Rotary Club, was one of your teachers at one point in time, right?
She was, yeah. She was a lot of fun. Yes.
So how does one like you've gone from being you went from being a police officer to being a a detective too. So is that something that the rest of your family did too? Moved up that path, or?
I don't know if my grandfather did any detective work. He might have did some, at the time it was called a vice squad. I think he might have did some of that. My father did patrol and then crime prevention unit, detectives, warrants.
What's the difference between like a normal police officer and a detective?
Every police officer starts out as patrol first, and you have to do your time as patrol. You learn working with the community, learn how to answer calls, learn how to take depositions, and generally speak to people and how to be a good police officer. And then if you are wanting to specialize, then you can put in for a special detail, like me being in the juvenile unit.
Okay.
So you just do a form every year and ask to be put in.
Now, is being a part of the juvenile unit, was that something that kind of led itself toward the Pal Camp then?
Yes. I've been in the juvenile unit for 10 years now, and just dealing with the kids and dealing with teachers, the school district, seeing that there's an issue with the police. And when this position for the Pal Camp opened, the chief had asked me if I would be interested in taking over.
Now, it's not a paid position. This is a volunteer position.
Just
correct?
volunteer, yes.
Yeah, that must mean a pretty big responsibility, isn't it?
It's a lot of work.
A lot of work just
Yeah.
to keep that open, right?
It's a lot of work. It's fun to be able to do it and to see what a difference that it makes.
So let's let our audience know what goes on with PAL.
PAL, the Police Athletic League, has been around since the 1950s. It was organized by Francis Carnes, who at his final step was being a captain. We have 66 acres at 536 Stratmill Road. And it has a building, a 6,000 square foot building, a track to learn how to ride a bicycle, an in-ground swimming pool, fields for playing sports, trails for hiking, a lake for fishing. Just this past year, we got okayed for kayaking. So last year was the first year kayaking, and it was such a game changer to put that into being able to do. The kids love it.
So it's a day camp, correct?
Yes, it is.
So a day camp for children who live in the city of Binghamton. Are there other requirements out for?
No, it's totally free. Every kid goes totally free. We run on donations and sponsorships, and we send a school bus around to several stops throughout the city. In the morning, the first stop starts at 8 o'clock, and then it drops back off at 4 p.m. This past year, Binghamton University's off-campus community transport did the transportation for us. We have outgrown their capacity, so now we have to go to a school bus. So.
School bus, that's pretty cool, though. Yeah. I mean, it shows that you've grown quite a bit over the last year or so. So what? How many children can go to this?
Our max this past year was 70 kids. 70 kids? I believe that we can take up to 100 kids, according to the health department. That would require, if we jumped up those 30 more spots, to hire more staff.
Hire more staff. Yeah. And so like that's part of the expense of the program, right? Making sure that you have adequate staff to manage the children that are there, right? Yes,
our budget is about $82,000 to $87,000 because we added that kayaking. We have 14 employees, from a camp director to aquatic director, a boat leader, CPR, lifeguards, and then counselors that are there, all organized into a daily schedule that's set up by the camp director to ensure that it's a continuous, constructive, organized camp So it might be something that these kids don't get at home, where they can learn some type of organization, and maybe that would benefit them throughout their lives.
Yeah, I could imagine. Do you have any stories of kids who've gone through your program?
Since taking over, actually, I've come in contact with tons of people. There's a lot of police officers have gone as a kid. Staff at employees at Wegmans, principals at Binghamton City Schools have gone. Contractors that we've had come up and look at doing some upgrades to the facility have said, "Oh yeah, I went here as a kid, and I remember fishing down in the lake." And we have these cleanups that happen every year, and in the fall and the spring, and one person actually came up and was helping us clear out the lakeside, and he's like, "I remember that tree. It's bent in, it's such a certain way that I remember that coming up here as a kid, and it was there."
So you never quite know where these kids are going to end up, right?
No, some people will show up and say, "Can I go fishing? I remember fishing down here as a kid. This is where I learned how to fish." So.
That's pretty cool. And so as far as like the work that you do, like, can you draw the line between, well, why would the police want to be involved in stuff like this? I mean, it's more. It's less law enforcement and more about community engagement and trying to help the lives of children. Why would police be involved in something like this?
I think the full history of PAL actually starts in the early 1900s with trying to get a relationship between police and the juveniles. And when ours was constructed, it was constructed and organized to give a place for these juveniles to come and the youth to get a connection with the police, a good connection, rather than have the first connection or the first time a police officer comes in some of these kids' lives is when they come to their house and have to ask questions at their house and maybe take care of a domestic situation. And kids might be scared by the police at that point. And so this is a way to ease them in, and say the police aren't bad people.
Right. Because for you, like, you grew up in a household of police officers, and so Dad was police and Grandpa was police, and so like like you said, the leather jacket when it's crinkling was a sound that you remember, and and remember all the details about that. But for a lot of kids, their only interaction with the police is generally negative.
Yes.
So at that point, that creates a roadblock between them and the police officer. Instead of it being the police officer being seen as a person, they see them as just the law, so to speak, right?
Yes, right.
So does it break down that barrier then?
I've met many of these kids. I've seen many of these kids out in the community, and they remember me as just going up and checking in. We do demonstrations. The traffic unit brings up a police car. The motorcycle unit will bring up a motorcycle. Bike guys will come up. We've had the SWAT Bearcat, the armored car come up.
That's got to be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Like, how do the kids react to the SWAT?
Oh, they love it.
Yeah?
It's amazing, yeah. They love being a part of it. And seeing the K-9 unit will do a demonstration of...
That's got to be fun too, right?
Yeah. They really like it. It's a lot of fun.
And when you have a lot of land like that too, right? So you can really get the dogs running, or you can show them the actual what the dogs actually do.
I've only been there for a couple times, and they've never used the outside, just about training and searching inside the building.
Inside the building.
Yeah, but I mean, they could have done some stuff outside.
Yeah. Boy, that's a great thing. So my guest today is Matt Lewis, and we've been talking about the PAL camp, his role as executive director, police officers, and how they become police, and all kinds of things. So let's talk a little bit now about, like, how does the community get involved with PAL camp? Like, how would a person how do you use volunteers? what role could volunteering play? What kind of money can they give, and how, all the various things that go into running it?
Sure. Donations can be made through our P.O. Box, 1472. We do have a
P.O. Box 1472.
Yes, Binghamton, New
In
York.
Binghamton, and what's the zip?
13902.
13902.
Yes.
Okay.
We do have a button on our Facebook page. We are in the process of changing Facebooks and websites. There will be a button on the website for donations.
Okay.
Volunteers, we don't do volunteers during the summer camp.
Okay.
Only because the health department is very
Right.
strict on any of that. But we do volunteers through United Way, the Day of Action, Day of Cleaning, or Day of Caring. Day of Action, Day of Caring. And they organize teams of people to come in and help me clean up the riverbank or lakeside, or cut trails through the 66 acres.
And that it would require, you do have a lot of landscape there that you have to kind of manage, right?
Yes, and you got to
Yeah.
keep up on it. It grows so quick.
Okay. Well, I know how quickly my grass grows.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, right now it's hard to remember that now that we're dealing with snow and stuff. But in the summertime, there's a lot of grass that it kind of has to be.
Yeah, we have about 4 acres that needs to be mowed, and then up the back hill where this trail is, it's a swath about 12
Right.
feet, and it's pretty steep.
And how long is the trail?
Well, we just started cutting it in the fall. I thought it would be easy. It's not.
No, it's not.
So we have about a quarter of it done, and it'll be a mile long.
A mile long.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad little hike especially for kids.
No, it's fun.
Yeah.
Trail markers. We got some trail markers, so
Yeah.
nobody's gonna get lost.
Have you ever seen those storybook trails that they put together where you walk a certain length of time and there's a storybook there and they can read it and then they walk to the next one,
Oh, that would be a great
get
idea.
all the way through it. There's a whole story that kind of goes along with it.
That would be a great idea.
Yeah, that'd be some. Those are cool. Those are cool trails. My wife and I we're big hikers, and so every now and then you run in. You start off on these little trails that you could kind of tell that kids love. But anyway, but so really, I mean, what you're talking about is a lot like what goes on with a lot of churches in our area. Is that they have like certain things that have to be done by paid people, and then there are certain things that are done by volunteers. And so there are ways that people can connect with you, and they can go on to your Facebook site. Is that the best way to find that information out?
Yes, yeah, that's all being updated. So it might not be up right now, but it will be, and then I'll put a button on there connecting to United Way to sign up for any of that United Way Day of Action, Day of Caring.
All right, very cool. And as far as like your budget, like how much money do you have to raise every year?
Our budget every year, it's hoping that we have enough money to work, but it'll be about $87,000.
$87,000 this year?
Yeah.
And so again, most of that money goes toward, like you were sharing with me a little while ago, toward the kids and toward underwriting the staff costs and other kinds of things that go into that. But it's a free experience for children.
Yeah, totally free. The kids do not pay any money for any part of it.
And including food.
And food is a part of the school district summer lunch program. They have breakfast. We have snack that's donated by Frito-Lay. A major amount of the money that it's insurance. The busing is about $11,000 or $12,000 because we have to do a school bus this year, and then the staff of 14 or 15 people.
And really, I mean, we're seeing this across the board. Childcare itself is become incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
But for you, when you look at it as per student cost through the course of a summer, how much per student?
When you break it down to how many our goal of kids each week, it's about between $240 and $250 per student, which is way under what some of these other camps are charging.
Well, yeah, I mean, so $250 per student is a great. You can't find things in that price range, but for a person, if they wanted to, they could donate $250 to the to Pal Camp, and that would give a kid.
Sure, sponsor one kid. Sure,
sponsor a kid to be in through that. But you're also looking for other donors too. So people who can have deeper pockets than that too, right?
I mean, that would be great. I love showing people the building and the grounds. So I mean, if that would secure any type of donation, I'm up for showing around.
How would people get in touch with you if they wanted to do that?
Our email is it was just changed to binghamtonpalcamp@gmail.com, and I will respond.
And is that to the name of the Facebook page?
The Facebook page right now, I believe it's Binghamton Pal.
Binghamton Pal.
Yeah.
All right, and really, I mean, what they'll see there are some pictures of what happens with the camp and how it can and how it's impacted kids, and it's really cool. Like right now that we're seeing a picture of a kid with a pretty big fish. Actually, is that a smallmouth bass?
It is. Some of the fish that come out of that lake are incredibly big.
Is it a man-made lake, or is it?
It was man-made in the 70s or 60s.
Oh, okay.
Because some of the older generation that said they have come up here said the lake wasn't there. It was just like a swampy area, and it has gradually increased with water.
Do you have to stock it at all?
I have not, but I did plan on doing that to see if we could get some more fish in there.
Some more fish in there, yeah. Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing for like I remember I took this one kid fishing for the first time, and he caught a largemouth bass because we were in a river, and that's really the difference between a smallmouth and a largemouth is where you catch them and how much water flows through there and all the rest of it. But he caught one, and he's holding it, and I took this picture of him. He was absolutely terrified of this fish. He caught. He has this look on his face, which was like this, but he was absolutely scared. And we laugh about it now, and it's been he's almost 30 years old.
That's funny. I love showing that picture. That kid was so happy.
Yeah,
I made several of them. Yeah, it's such a cool experience. And the kayaking, it's amazing. Now the kids want to kayak, and fishing is not that popular anymore. But
kayaking has got its own thing, right? So you get a lot of kids out on a kayak, and they splash and they have fun, and makes a big difference in a kid's life to have that kind of independence and have a constructive activity like that. Now, how many staff do you need to hire in order to manage the folks that you have there?
Right now we're at 14 people. If we decide to have more campers, then we have to hire a couple more counselors.
Okay. And how many counselors per kid?
It ranges with their age, but mostly like in the pool it might be 8 to 1, 8 campers to 1 counselor. In the same with the kayaking. If they do like a trail walking, hiking nature walk, it might be 11 to 1.
Okay. And that really breaks down per activity, but it also speaks to why you need to have the additional help in order to make that work.
If we are so organized, the camp flows extremely well.
Yeah. And you don't get paid for this, right? So this is a volunteer.
It is volunteer.
Yeah, labor of love, or
I love organizing it. I'm not up there day to day every day. I'll stop in and check on things, make sure they're okay, make sure the building is good. And the camp directors that we've had are amazing at making sure that things are organized and flow properly.
Now, where is this located, the camp? I don't know if we've said the address.
The camp address is 536 Strat Mill Road in Binghamton.
and people they can find out how to register by going on your Facebook site.
Yes. Yeah, our new website will be open shortly, and that will have we're doing online registration from now on.
All right, and that will be both for kids, but then also if kids to sign up will go through that portal, right?
Yes. Because it's a children's camp, the parents have to upload their shot records, and then we'll make our rosters from there.
All right, very cool. And then as far as just to kind of wrap things up, so the way that individuals can sign up to be involved with the Day of Caring at the event can be found through your Facebook site as well.
Yes, I'll put it on there, and if it's not able to be if you can't get through that way, then through United Way volunteer headquarters.
And what is your hope and dream in this last minute that we have, minute and a half? What's your hope and dream for the future for Pal Camp?
I will continue to do this. I love being involved in it. I would hope that to affect some of these kids to make, possibly even get some police officers out of these kids that come through.
Yeah.
Make a good attempt at putting some organization in their lives and
really making a difference in kids' lives too, right?
Yes.
Because I would imagine that the most beneficial thing that I can say that the most beneficial thing I've ever seen come out of situations like this are kids who come in a little bit trying to figure out who they are and what their future is going to look like or what they stand for, and then all of a sudden now, wham, they have something, and there's a spark there, and there's, like with that child holding the fish, there's joy there. There's something more than what they came in with, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it's been pleasure having you on, Matt. Thanks for being on Encounter and for telling us all about what happens at Pal Camp in Binghamton, and for ways that our audience can interact with you and be able to help kids have a great summer. And I want to thank you for the work that you do. It's inspiring to me, and it should be inspiring to our audience too, to realize that this isn't your day job. This is something that you do as a volunteer.
Yeah.
And as well as the work that you do with the police department. Thank you so much for all that you do to make our community a safe and great place to raise children.
Thank you for having me.
And for all of you, I pray that you would have a good day and also be kind and gentle to each other.